והטיפו ההרים הסדיס. והטיפו ההרים הסדיס. וכל הגבעות תתמוגגנה, וכל הגבעות תתמוגגנה.
Welcome everyone to Shalvah this week. And this week we're looking at this verse from the book of Amos, the prophet Amos. And Amos is talking about redemption and when will redemption come and how will we know what it looks like. And his metaphors are agricultural. He says there's going to come a time when the plower is going to meet the reaper. In other words, there's going to be, instead of having a season of planting that's really a season of need, where we don't yet have what we need to exist, and then a season of harvest, there's actually going to be continual harvest, and there's going to be incredible plenty. So I was interested this week in the metaphors he uses, because he says, "V'hitufu ha'arim asis." The mountains will drip with nectar or juice. V'chol hagvaot tikmogagna, and all of the hills will melt. So this is image of flow of water, and especially the idea that it's about dripping and about melting. In the original context, it seems, and people debate exactly what he meant here, but it seems he's saying the mountains are going to have so many grapevines growing on them that it's going to be like they are themselves dripping with the juice of grapes. So sometimes it's translated the mountains will drip with wine, because that juice is going to be made into wine. And when it says all the hills will melt, that it's going to look if you have hills and they're planted with, say, wheat or barley, it's going to look like the hills are melting when the wind pushes on the grain, because it's going to wave back and forth. So it's going to look like melting. So it's a wonderful image of abundance. But in our context, especially this week when unusually for the Philadelphia area, we are still covered under a blanket of snow and ice. And we think about what the force it would take to melt all that ice. And we hear the dripping, the tif-tuf of water dripping from our houses, our apartments, and as the melting starts to happen in very small ways. But we tend to go through a cycle, as we know, of things melt and then they freeze and then they thaw and then they freeze. And so I was thinking we can rethink this metaphor as really being about that cycle, and there being a time when it actually melts. And we have metaphors in English that when we think about, for example, somebody's heart being hard, and then we could say, oh, my heart melted, right? It's an image of ease, and it's an image of barriers being broken or taken away, that melting. So the dripping and the melting, these are about maybe also images of redemption, as the ice around us and the snow around us starts to drip and the ice melts and the snow melts. that's when we get to see the redemption of nature as it comes underneath, that we'll see when spring comes. But so it's not only about, though, the cycle of nature, it's also about the cycle of our lives in looking for justice and looking for freedom and looking for release in the world. We can sometimes feel frozen. And certainly during this pandemic, that we're seemingly frozen in place. Things shift a little, but it's sort of like under the ice. We're not shifting that fast. And the idea that the drip, 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 and the little pieces of melting that we get, that's the beginnings. That's the beginnings of things starting to shift. Those are the things that give us hope as we feel also the ice inside us, the frozenness inside us, we hope, also starting to melt and to soften. That's an image we can take with us. So although we can identify with the frozenness of the earth right now, hopefully we can also identify with the ice melting, with ease coming and transformation on the horizon as we listen to the drip, drip, drip of the water falling from the melting ice.
So we're going to do a luxuriously long body scan. Luxurious if you enjoy such things, I guess. But before we do that, we're gonna just take a moment that if you want to stretch, you can stand if you feel like standing. You can twist in your seat. You can trace half circles with your chin on your clavicle to invite your body to soften. And before we start, and if stretching is really working for you, you can keep stretching, or if you are ready to begin, I invite you to find a comfortable seat. It's upright and dignified, but also relaxed. And to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, or just softly rest your eyes a few feet in front of you on the floor. And take a couple of really deep breaths, sighing out of your mouth audibly. Deep inhale and deep exhale. One more in and out of your mouth. And then letting your breath return to normal. So becoming aware that you are seated, or if you chose to lie down, you can also choose that, and just becoming aware of your body and space and the points of contact that you're feeling between your body and the seat or your body and the floor. Feeling your hands and whatever they're touching, your feet, whatever they're touching. Just casting a strong awareness, gentle but strong awareness over your whole body. And then bringing attention to the top of your head. Noticing what you feel. Using your breath as the anchor if your attention wanders, but if you can keep your attention on your body, bringing awareness down over your forehead, Not trying to do anything or change anything yet, just noticing. Are there any tight muscles in your forehead, around your eyebrows, in between your eyebrows? If there are, you can invite them to melt. The muscles around your eyes. Curious about what's happening there. Letting the layer melt that's closest to the surface, and maybe even the layers under those muscles that you can feel. It's really, really melting. Such a restful feeling. Your cheekbones, all the muscles around there, and your nose. The muscles above your top lip. Inviting all those places to relax and melt. Noticing what's happening around your jaw. First noticing and then letting that melt. Muscles feeling more pliable and light. Now, all around your mouth, your chin, inviting the whole front of your face, front of your head, all of your face to relax. And going back up to the top of your head, casting awareness there and down the back of your skull, becoming aware of how that feels. All this time we spend in our bodies and we still don't notice how we're feeling so much of the time. So really allowing yourself this time to notice what's going on and invite the back of your skull to relax, melt. All the way down to the base of your skull and down the whole circumference of your neck and throat, noticing any harder, tenser places and letting them relax. Becoming aware of the tops of your shoulders, those muscles, the trapezius muscles between your neck and shoulders, and those muscles that are so prone to carrying tension. Imagining a heating pad resting on your shoulders. Inviting those muscles to soften and melt, and really letting that heat penetrate deeper and deeper into that muscle area. Feeling how that loosening affects your breath. And bringing your awareness to your upper back. Becoming aware of any tight places. Extending that feeling of heat to those places, inviting them to melt. Down to your lower back. Any tight places, feeling that heat, that melting. Remembering that you can always return to your breath if you need that to reconnect to awareness. Otherwise, coming to the front of your body again, the top of your torso area, noticing any tension around your chest, allowing that to melt. Bringing that feeling of warmth through your rib cage, into your belly, feeling your whole torso softening. Bringing awareness to your arms. Letting that feeling of warmth and melting travel from your shoulders to your elbows, your wrists, noticing if your hands feel tight in any way. They don't have to do anything right now. Just letting them be limp, melt. Palms of your hands, your fingers, tops of your hands, everything loose. Your whole upper body now, from head to waist, warm and loose. Now through your waist, your seat, your thighs, noticing any tightness and just letting it melt. Your knees, calf muscles, ankles, feet. Imagining your feet in a nice hot soak. Really inviting all of that to relax, melting. Noticing whether your breath has become easier, just following a breath cycle or two, not trying to change it, just noticing, curious. Really taking a moment to appreciate your body and all it does for us, for you. Grateful, enjoying this moment of deep rest. And maybe opening to the possibility of doing this again, even if you just have a few minutes, or as you're going to sleep at night, doing a body scan and letting your body melt, but allowing yourself this nurturing as often as you can create those opportunities to take care of yourself. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, give a little stretch. Thank yourself for this time. And we'll chant a little together before we go. Vehitifu, vehitifu, heharim asis. Vehitifu, vehitifu, heharim asis. Bechol hagvot titmagagena. Bechol hagvot titmagagena. Vehitifu, vehitifu, heharim asis. Vehitifu, vehitifu, heharim asis. Vechol hagvot titmagagena. Vechol hagvot titmagagena.
So thank you for being with us this moment, and we can pray that as we move through this winter and we see the ice melting, that the ice inside of us will also melt and free us up so that we can move forward unbound. Thank you all for being with us this week.